And joining me now on Political Connections is Republican Representative Greg Steube of District 17 in Florida. Congressman, good to see you again. Welcome back to Political Connections.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We want to talk. Our topic today is what has happened and continues to happen in Afghanistan. I know early on you called for President Biden's resignation over all of this. Clearly that's not happening. If anything, he has called it a success. So I just want to get your response to what has gone down in Afghanistan.
Yeah, I don't see how you can describe what happened in Afghanistan as an extraordinary success when they admit that we still have American citizens trapped behind enemy lines. We have forfeited $90 billion worth of military equipment, aircraft, Humvees, and otherwise. Myself and a Democrat colleague filed a bill 2 weeks ago that would require the Biden administration to go in and retrieve our people, do missions to get them out safely. And then after we've rescued Americans trapped behind enemy lines, to either go in and recover our military equipment or to destroy our military equipment. It's pretty interesting that I got a Democrat in California to join me in that. It shows that there is bipartisan support for what we need to do in Afghanistan. And the administration is doing absolutely nothing right now. We now have no tactical folks on the ground. The CIA pulled out before the military did. We don't have the ability, except for long-range things, to go in there and to do the things that we need to do. And it's a very sad day for our country, the fact that we still have Americans caught behind enemy lines. And now our administration is reliant upon the Taliban to get them out.
Mitch McConnell came out and pointed out the obvious. Look, we don't control the House or the Senate. There's not going to be an impeachment. So where is this accountability going to come from that you're looking for?
Well, the accountability is going to come when the Republicans take the House back in 2022. Just like you said, and Mitch McConnell is accurate in that assessment, that Republicans can do very little, if anything, in the House or the Senate because we don't have the votes to get anything done. So until the elections in 2022, you're not going to see that. But in the House, we have filed a discharge petition. Myself and Republican colleagues, Brian Mast, also of Florida, filed that bill. There's going to be a number of us that sign on to that. That's going to declare that the Taliban shouldn't be recognized as a legitimate government. We shouldn't give them money. We should rescue our American citizens. That discharge petition has the ability for any member of Congress to sign that bill. If you get to 218 signatures, it forces Pelosi's hand to vote on that piece of legislation. Now, you'll get every single Republican. We only need 3 Democrats to have the courage to stand with us as it relates to Afghanistan that would force a vote on the House floor on that discharge petition. So hopefully there will be 3 Democrats willing to break ranks with the Democratic majority to have some accountability in Afghanistan.
You mentioned Nancy Pelosi there. What was the situation where I saw, I believe yourself and Brian Mast tweeted we wanted to read the names of the 13 soldiers killed, and she would not allow it. What happened there exactly?
Yeah, so 40 of my Republican colleagues traveled to Washington when we were not in a full session. All veteran Republican members of Congress took time during a recess period to go up there during a pro forma session of Congress. We were hoping to be recognized by the Democrats to, 1, read the names of those service members who perished in Afghanistan, and 2, bring up the bill that I was just describing to you that would do a number of different things as it relates to Afghanistan. We weren't even recognized on the floor to be able to recognize, to speak what we wanted to speak about. Debbie Dingell, the Democrat out of Michigan, who was the Speaker pro temp at that time, turned around and turned her back to us and walked away. While she was walking away, one of my colleagues said, "We just want to read the names of those service members who have fallen," and she kept walking out of the House floor. So we had a press conference after that to declare and ask for the things that we want to have done as it relates to Afghanistan, but we were completely and utterly ignored. 40 veteran members of the Republican caucus on the House floor.
So let's talk about what is happening there right now. I believe it's estimated somewhere between 100 to 200, closer to 100, according to the State Department, Americans still in Afghanistan. The majority of the SIV, our allies who helped us, are still there. We know we've been reporting on, the private efforts, the veterans groups, the military contractors trying themselves to get people out. We know here in Tampa, we're working on a story today about 2 women whose husbands are over there. Do you know of Floridians who want to get out and can't. Do you know of efforts, where this private effort is involving to try and get people out? Where does all of that stand right now in getting these folks out as you see it?
Yeah, it's a sad day in the state of America when we're relying upon other people, not the government, to get our citizens out and our SIVs out. That is still ongoing. And the challenge now, because we've pulled everybody out, is we don't have a lot of intelligence, if at all, on the ground. I know for a fact there's been a number of different of these organizations and groups that have asked the State Department to give them clearance to get out, groups that were on an airplane ready to leave. They needed a country to fly to, and the State Department is not giving them those authorizations. It's a real sad state of affairs in our country right now that we have American citizens who are trapped and our government is not doing anything to get them out. The administration, the State Department said they're relying on the Taliban to negotiate the withdrawal of our citizens and some of these SIVs. I certainly wouldn't put my faith and trust in a terrorist organization, but unfortunately, that's what our administration is doing right now.
You early on supported the rapid withdrawal out of Afghanistan when some were saying in your own party, let's leave the 2,500 troops there. We'll have a listening post. I'm sure you heard Trump's former national security advisor McMaster come out and say, it was a big mistake when Pompeo and the Trump administration were negotiating with the Taliban, maybe not including the Afghan government as much as they should have, and that sent a message to Afghans. America's out of here. You're going to be on your own, and that got the ball rolling for the Afghan army and the Afghan government to vaporize as soon as we started to pull out. Understanding that Trump has not been the president for the last 7-8 months, but still, is there some truth to that argument that they got the ball rolling in a bad direction?
No, I wouldn't cascade it that way. The Obama administration was negotiating with the Taliban, we know, way back in 2015. What Trump had negotiated was a conditions-based withdrawal May 1st, and I 100% supported that. Trump would have gotten all of our assets, all of our people, everything out of the country prior to letting the last military aircraft and military service member leave the country. That would have been done beforehand. The problem is the Biden administration breached the agreement that the prior administration had with the Taliban. So what do you expect the Taliban to do when we, an American government, have breached the agreement that we had with them? And that's when you saw them start to take over portions of the country. Had we stuck with what the Trump administration had originally negotiated, gotten all of our equipment and our people out, you would have seen a smooth transition of power. What you didn't see happen was an agreement that was executed by the Trump administration, by the Biden administration. They breached that. The Taliban started reacting in a way that was completely anticipated and started taking over areas of the country. And then Biden made the order to get everybody out of our service members who were there before we got every citizen out of the country, which is a huge failure, in my opinion, of our government to leave Americans behind.
Representative Greg Steube, I have to leave it at that. We're out of time for now, but appreciate your time, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.